Hi Renee, this is Mike from Stagecoach Road Vintage Sewing Machine, and this is the final test of your beautiful Kenmore 904 sewing machine. And even though you are a master of this machine and have known this machine your whole life, we're going to go over the operation of it because we're going to post the final test video to YouTube for the sake of all of the owners that don't have the experience that you have. So we're going to put her through her paces and just do a final check here. I touched up the several chips on the bed and in a few other places. The touch-up paint that I have wasn't a perfect match, so I avoided one or two tiny spots that I thought the touch-up paint might look more out of place than with a small use mark. So we'll start by threading a bobbin, and the bobbin winder is over here. There is a spool pin down here just for the bobbin winder, so you'll want to go through there, through the thread guide on the bobbin winder tension, then up to the bobbin. I guess we should put a bobbin on there to wind. So it might be a little easier to start the thread before you put the bobbin on the winder. Going from the inside towards the out, put the thread through one of the holes in the side of the bobbin and hold it from the outside. While you put a few wraps on the bobbin just to hold the thread in place. And you can cut off the little tail. Put the bobbin on the winder. Okay, there we go. There's a little notch in the side of the bobbin and a little keeper on the bobbin winder spool, pin, whatever, that locks the bobbin in place so it turns with the bobbin winder. Once that's seated, press down where it says to press, and double check that your thread is still in the bobbin winder tensioner. Declutch by turning the chrome knob in the center of the hand wheel a quarter turn towards you, and you're ready to wind a bobbin. No reason to go faster when you're winding a bobbin. If you go fast, there's just more chance of tangling the thread. So that's it. We're not going to wind a full bobbin since this is just for a test. Push up the little lever that's in the top of your thread spool or your bobbin, and you'll notice that as your thread is accruing on the bobbin, it's moving this little lever up further and further and further until when the bobbin's finally full, it pushes it up enough to pop the bobbin winder away from the hand wheel and stop it from winding. So anyway, pop it up, remove your bobbin, and remember to reclutch your machine by snugging the chrome knob in the center of your hand wheel. you put your bobbin in the bobbin case, you want the thread to come off of your bobbin in this direction. It'll make a difference. So put it in, and you'll find a little slanted notch in the side of the bobbin case. Pull your thread up under that flat leaf spring until it clicks into place, and then you have tension on your lower thread. If you hold this little lever out while you're holding your bobbin case, your bobbin won't drop out. Put it in with this little finger here, pointing up, like a little hitchhiker's thumb. There's a notch for it in there. If your bobbin case isn't going in, make sure that your needle isn't down in the way. Just thread the machine with the spool on the spool pin, either one. Go into the rear thread guide, round to the front thread guide, down between the discs of the tension assembly, and it doesn't matter which set you go through, front or back. Make sure you catch the check spring here on your way up, then pull until your thread goes into the notch at the top. And then when you pull up on the thread, you'll see the check spring move. You'll know that you're in right. There's a small thread guide on this end, and through the take-up lever from left to right. And then you'll catch the other end of that thread guide going down, and there's a thread guide at the bottom of the faceplate. Then, as on any machine that the bobbin goes in this way instead of this way, the flat side of your needle will be towards the back of the machine, and your needle will thread from front to back. If you cut a nice clean end on your thread, it'll make threading a whole lot easier, because you won't have those little frayed ends pushing you away from the eye of the needle. Oops. Don't let it wrap around the needle. Make sure you have a little tail of thread on your bobbin. Now, holding the needle thread loosely, turn the hand wheel towards you one full turn, and that will take the thread down and wrap it around the bobbin and bring up your lower thread. Put the thread between the toes of the presser foot towards the back of the machine, and you're ready to sew. Put your fabric under, lower the presser foot, and hold your threads for the first couple of stitches so the thread locks in place. It doesn't get pulled down under or anything. And then just guide it. Don't push it or pull it. If you push your fabric or pull it, trying to help it move, you're going to flex the needle, and the needle is going to miss that tiny hole in the needle plate. And it'll hit the needle plate, break your needle, put your machine out of time, all sorts of things you don't want. So guide the fabric to where you want it to go, but don't push it or pull it. This is your stitch length adjustment. 0, of course, means your fabric doesn't move at all. Usually around 1.5 is a good place for regular fabric, good stitch length. This button down here is your reverse. So you have 0 to 4. 4 is your longest stitch length. You see the fabric moves much faster with those long stitches. So we're going to set it back to around 1.5 or so. This dial up here is your needle position. This is a 3-position needle home. 3 needle home position, I guess. Okay. This is centered. You can also have it sewing towards the left hand or towards the right hand. We're going to leave it in the center for now. This is your stitch width. That's how wide the machine's going to zig and zag. And if you just try to turn this knob, you're going to be disappointed because it's not going to turn. You have to push in a little bit, and then you can turn from 0 up to 4. 0 being straight stitch, no zigzag at all, to a little bit wider zigzag, to more and more until your widest zigzag at 4. We'll do it. Might as well do a zigzag just for fun. And this other knob here, it has to do with your accessory cams. If you have accessory cams, then read your manual. It'll tell you what to do with that one. This dial at the top here is your presser foot adjustment. It adjusts how hard the presser foot presses down on the fabric. And if you're sewing coating or something really heavy, you're going to want a little more pressure on your presser foot. If you're sewing something light, you might want a little less. But we've got it set at about 5, which is a good medium regular fabric pressure. This dial here is your tension assembly, and if you have it threaded right and your thread goes between the discs of the presser foot, the discs of the tension assembly, and your thread catches the check spring properly, this is where you will adjust how much so your tension assembly adjusts how much drag there is on the thread, and that will affect how tightly the upper thread pulls up the loops of the lower thread. So if you got little loops on the bottom of your fabric, you may need a little bit more pressure. If you're a little more tension. If your fabric is puckering up, you may have a little too much tension and you may want to let it off a little. Usually somewhere around 3 or 4 is a pretty good ballpark setting for regular fabric. That's about it. I think we've pretty much covered it all. If you're sewing all day, every day, you should oil your machine every day. If you sew a couple hours a day, a couple days a week, you probably want to oil your machine every week or 2. And if you only bring your machine out of the closet on rare occasions to patch your pants or to do a project and it hasn't been oiled in 2 or 3 months, you're going to want to oil the machine because the oil does evaporate over time. To oil, you're going to want to take off the top, open the face plate, look at the bottom, and while it's all open like that, you're going to turn the hand wheel and see what parts move against each other. And at the point where those parts rotate on each other or touch each other, or where a bolt goes through a socket like this, and it's intended to move against the bolt without without being locked tight together so it can rotate, you're going to see a little oil hole. You're going to put a little drop of oil in each one of those oil holes. Anywhere where parts rotate against each other or slide in and out of holes or move back and forth against each other are going to take a drop of oil, and you don't over oil it. I mean, if you do, it's not the end of the world. You just take a tissue and blot it up so you don't get it on your project. Better too much oil than not enough, as long as it's not getting on your fabric. But use good quality sewing machine oil, and that's about it. Renee, you got a really nice machine. It's in really nice condition. It's got a lot of years of sewing in it. And this is just one of my favorite machines anyway. It's a good, strong, precision machine. I can see why you wanted to go back to this one. If you've come here from somewhere else on the internet and found this video, we are Stagecoach Road Vintage Sewing Machine, and we restore old sewing machines. We've been doing this for 20 some years. We've restored well over 1,000 machines and shipped them all over the country and beyond. And if you're looking for a really awesome machine, check out our website. We're on Stagecoach Road, so we are stagecoachroadsewing.com. stagecoachroadsewing.com, all one word. And when you come there, you can see hundreds and hundreds, literally, of beautiful machines that we've restored over the last 20 some years. And you'll see views from all different sides and a little bit of information about each machine. And at the top of the page, there will be a few, maybe 15, 20, 30 machines that are restored, ready to sew, that you can take home to your own sewing room. So again, we are stagecoachroadsewing.com. Come check us out. Renee, thank you so much for trusting us with your beautiful machine, and you'll be seeing her pretty soon. So thanks for watching. stagecoachroadsewing.com. Catch you later.